Hello, everybody, and hope you're having a nice MomoCon weekend. My name is Severo, and I will be teaching the Gunpla instructional build today. So glad that y'all are here. And for those of you who are curious what this amazing thing called Gunpla is, I actually have several examples around me. What they are they're these amazing model kits built from the universe of Mobile Suit Gundam. And here I have high-grade Barbatos. As you can see here, they're quite detailed and quite awesome looking, and you can pose them. See, he's got a katana here, and then he's got a club. It's pretty sweet. Anyhow, we've got a nice little tutorial planned for y'all today. We are building today the high-grade Build Strike Gundam full package from Gundam Build Fighters. This is Sei Iori's mobile suit, the main character, and this is a really, really cool looking kit. It's actually based off the Strike Gundam from Gundam Seed. It's got a really cool frame, nice colors, and then it has this backpack that transforms into this fighter unit, and also has these dual cannons. For those of you who have never built a Gundam model before, no worries. This is going to be a very, very exciting experience for you. One thing I like about Gundam modeling is that it is relatively accessible. In fact, it'll be the easiest form of Gundam model building that you have ever seen. So, first of all, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's go over our tools. And before me here, I have our three important tools here. If you picked up your MomoCon model bundle, you should see that it will come with one of each of these three tools. You'll have a pair of cutters, and these will be used to separate your parts off the runners. This is your bread and butter tool. If you can't get a hold of any of these tools, if you have to choose one out of all of these to get a hold of, definitely get a hold of cutters. They are your most important piece. Next, I have an X-Acto knife. This blade is rather sharp, and this will be used to clean off your nubs that are left from separating the parts from the runners. It's very, very sharp. Kids, make sure that you have parental supervision. Parents, make sure that you supervise yourselves too, because this thing can be deadly. Very, very useful tool. You'll find yourself using it quite a bit. And then I have a needle file here. And here it's got a flat surface, and in your bundle, you should have a manicure stick with a pink side and a blue side. The pink side is the coarse side, the blue side is the finer side. Some people, they prefer to use sandpaper as well, which isn't included here, but you could also go to an automotive store and pick up some 1000 grit sandpaper if you like. This will be used to also sand off our nubs to make sure that our surfaces are nice and smooth, because we want nice and smooth, you know, so the kits look really cool. These are your big three, and we will be putting them to good use today. Let's dive into the model, shall we? Let's go ahead and crack it open very gently. And look at these beautiful, beautiful runners. Got a massive array of them. Now, if you're a first-time modeler, I can understand that for some people it might be a little bit overwhelming to see all these pieces, but rest assured, this will be like clockwork. It'll be really easy, and once we get a look at the pieces, you'll see that it'll start making a whole lot of sense. Now, your most important thing here is your handy-dandy manual, and this is your blueprint. Now, no worries if you don't speak Japanese. Like all the pieces themselves have a letter and a number to them. Now, if you'll notice these runners, each runner actually has a letter on it. See, like this runner has the letter E. Like each of the pieces, there is a number assigned to each piece. So it's basically like build my number. See that on our blueprint, it tells you what pieces there are. Every piece has a letter and a number. And we're just going to proceed to cut out the pieces and assemble them. And of course, work at your own pace. There's no rush, there's no hurry. You know, it's a really nice hobby since, you know, I know that many of us are indoors. But if you're looking for a way to relax, this is an amazing, amazing hobby. So I'm going to tell you about a 3-step process that you can keep in your head. And Eventually, it'll become like clockwork, and you'll be able to just build like you're breathing. 3 words I want you to remember: cut, clean, and assemble. Again, that is cut, clean, and assemble. Let's get started. Let's get right into it, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and set my runners aside, just to the side, until I need them. And we're going to check our blueprint for the first step. And I'm going to show you how to assemble a part here. And it looks like the first step we'll be doing is constructing the torso. So in this case, the parts we're looking for runner G1, number 2. So I have this blue runner, this lovely blue runner with the number G1, and I will find piece number 2, which is this guy right here. You see the number 2 on the corner. First word, cut. You might ask, well, you know, why do I need cutters? Can't I just twist the pieces out? Well, you can. However, what happens is when you twist the plastic out and try to pop them out by hand, it'll leave stress marks. And because we want to build a nice, pretty kit, we want to avoid that. So cutters help us make nice, clean separations from the runner. So if you notice on the runner, the runner is the piece is connected to the runner by these little gates, these little screws. So what we're going to do is we're going to separate them. Now, get you a nice look here. What you'll want to do is when you make your cut, you do not want to actually cut right against the piece because that creates stress. You'll want to place your cut just a little bit away from the piece to leave a little bit of a nub, and then just snap about. Ooh, that's a very satisfying feeling. It's a nice little click. Okay, we're gonna do it again. Just gonna give it a little snap. There we go. See, I just made sure to leave a little bit of nub on there. You'll see why in a moment. So now we have separated G2, which is the same G2 that is in our blueprint. And you note that it is the same piece that we have. What we're going to want to do is, because we have these little nubs on the outsides, we were going to clean the piece off. So take your cutters, and now it is okay to cut the excess nubs off, like so. But again, I don't want to put my cutters right against the piece to avoid the stress marks. I still want to leave a little bit, but as close as you can, just try to trim the nub. And so you have a little bit of, you still have a little bit of nub left there. Just a little bit of nub. I just have a little bit of nub on the sides there. So we've completed the first step. What did we do? We cut. Next step is we clean, which is what we're doing. We've cut off a little bit of the nub, and now we need to make sure that these nubs are nice and smooth. So for this instance, we can use our X-Acto knife or our file to file down the nub. So first I'll show you how to clean a nub with your X-Acto knife. So take your X-Acto knife. Be very careful with this, folks. This is a sharp object. And see, there's a little nub left on the piece there. I'm going to hold my X-Acto knife firmly. I'm going to brace the back with my thumb. And I'm just going to very carefully, just with the tip of my knife, very carefully carve off the nub on this piece. Shave off the plastic bit by bit, very gently. You want small motions, very, very little. And then to smooth it out, you can take the edge of your blade. So I'm going to take the edge of my blade and I'm going to just glide it across the edge to smooth out the excess. That's how you clean with an X-Acto knife. But sometimes this isn't the best tool for the occasion. Sometimes you also want to use the file. And so on another side, I'll teach you how to use the file next. We've got a nub over here. So I'm going to take my file and I'm going to very gently glide it across the top. I'm going to use a single motion. If you notice, I am going in one direction and just lifting it. And I'm not sawing it back and forth. I'm just doing kind of a circular motion, very delicately. See, I'm just lifting, lift, lift. And you can clean off the residue with your finger. See, nice and smooth. And let's go ahead and file off the edge of this piece as well. And it is just such a fun feeling, just watching the nub disappear. Show you another angle. See, there's the nub. And we're just gonna lift, lift, lift. And initially you want to go over it with the coarse end of your stick, that's the pink side. And then after you've gone over it with the pink side, then you can flip it over and go over it with the blue side. Some people are really particular, so what they'll do is they'll go over it with 3 or 4 different grades of sandpaper. Like starting from a lesser grit, you know, like a 200 grit, 300 grit, and then maybe they'll go up to 500 grit, 1000 grit, 2000 grit. Which, if you go up to 2000 grit, that's like the same kind of paper that you pick up at an automotive shop. A file will suffice. Give that a little clean, and voila! There we have it. So we have cut it, and we have cleaned it. Step 1 is cut. Step 2 is clean. Step 3 is assemble. Our blueprint calls for PC2. Two parts named PC2. Now there's a very special runner that you'll find in your kit, and these are PCs, short for polycaps. Now polycaps are special because they're actually made of a rubbery plastic. They're a lot more flexible because these are your joints. Like, they are the reason why your kits, and here's my port and over here, you can start flexing their joints and give them articulation. See, what's cool about this is that when you build models like this, is that you can pose them. And so your polycaps are what makes your posability work. And so this is the chest part. We're going to cut out some shoulder sockets, which is polycap number 2. Now, you don't have to be as careful with the polycaps. Just make sure that you are, just be extra careful that you're not cutting the connecting point itself. Like, there's a little stub on this polycap. You want to leave that, but you just want to cut where it connects to the runner. But it's okay. You can feel comfortable cutting it right up against it. No need for filing or sanding here on a polycap. Just cut them right out. I've got my chest part here. And the blueprint calls for the polycaps to be inserted into the sockets. So I got my polycap, and we will insert the polycap. Just very nicely nestles into the socket there, like so. Boom. So you see you have a socket connector and a hinge for arm abduction and rotation, because these models like to move. Okay, I'll go do the other side, and it just very gently nestles in there. Beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and cut out a few more parts, and I'm just gonna blaze through this next bit, and y'all can watch. Step 1, we've cut the pieces out. Step 2, we've cleaned the pieces. Step 3, assemble. So now that we have these parts here, the directions call to slip those together. So you remember this this back part that we pulled with the polycaps that goes in the back, followed by C14, which is this thing right here. And oh my goodness, assembling's so good. See, there's there's a little hole there and the peg here, and I'm just going to slip that on there, and it just comes together like a Lego. So yeah, no paint or glue required. And then I take the front part, because it says that the front part, the G1, goes over the top. And then I'm just going to slip it over like so. Look at that. We have just built the torso. Cool looking piece right there. Basically, what I just showed you, you're going to repeat. You're going to repeat several times over and over again until you have assembled the entirety of the model. So for the next segment, I'm just going to continue putting the pieces together. Over here we have B5, and B5 calls for sticker number 1, and you'll know it's a sticker because it has the little peely symbol on it. So I'm going to find the letter B. Here are the decals for this piece, and because it's the head, we have the eye sticker. Now, I want you to train yourself here. As tempting as it is to take it out with your fingers and put it on there, I'm going to strongly advise against it. So instead, we are going to be using our X-Acto knife. Why our X-Acto knife? Because the X-Acto knife doesn't have the oil on our fingers, which reduces the adhesiveness. Also, the tip of the X-Acto knife is much finer than my finger, like significantly finer, so I can maneuver it a lot better. So with the decal sheet, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife. Oh, this thing's really reflective. Hopefully weren't blinding you. And I'm going to very gently bend the sheet so that the adhesive gets exposed, and just nudge out the piece, nudge out the sticker with my X-Acto knife. Being very careful not to touch the adhesive side itself. You can see that. Those are some eyes. I have some eyeballs on the edge of my knife. that sounds gruesome. So I'm going to take the eyes, and I'm going to take the headpiece. And what I like to do with the eyes is I like to apply them with the middle side first. And kind of just roll it off. You kind of have to be gentle here. I'm going to be quiet so I can focus. Just roll it off the knife. Okay, now once you've gotten it on there, you can very carefully adjust it. Alternatively, you can also paint these on too if you have some model paints in the house. But today we're going to use the decal. See? So that's how to do eye stickers, and pretty much any other sticker. Of course, the eyes are usually the most challenging sticker that is on a kit. And with that, we'll continue working on the head. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a head. So the majority of the process is pretty much what you've seen. I have a torso built so far, so all you need to do is just cut, clean, and assemble. Cut, clean, and assemble. I'm going to go ahead and continue working on this, and when we come back, we'll have a look at what it's like when it's finished. Have any questions, feel free to let us know in our Discord server. Hello everybody, Severo here, back again for the MomoCon Build tutorial. We've been working for the past few hours, I think it's about been 4 hours or so, and we've been continuing work on our Build Strike Gundam full package. We've made a lot of progress so far, as you can see. from my box of runners over here. We've cut out assembled every single runner piece off the runner over here. And lo and behold, we have the pieces of the build strike, and we are ready to do the final assembly. As you can see, I have a torso over here. Really good looking torso with the arms attached. The arms are also quite flexible. It's got some great elbow movement. Yeah, look at that. I have some legs here too, and the legs can also bend. And we have the waist part. The waist part has a ball joint in the core, so the waist can rotate, and the side skirts, complete with beam sabers, which can actually be unmounted and attached with the beam part. So your Gundam can have some lightsabers. And then we also have this lovely core fighter unit with these beam cannons on the sides here. This thing's pretty rad. Also, if you notice, the wings can actually fold up. And we have a beam shield, as well as a few blasters. Let's put it all together, shall we? Get this waist part, slip it on there like so. You want it nice and tight. There we go. Then put the rest of the waist on. It's looking pretty good. And now we do the left leg. We have the peg part over here. So we'll just slip that on. And the right leg. And voila! We have a body. Here, let me give you all another view of this guy. See, we've made some progress. And tell you what, let's go ahead and equip him with his shield. See, he has a little hole beneath his arm over here. The shield peg just nestles in like so. Now he's got that shield. Gonna use this one over here. That seems pretty cool. Just slide that into his hand. Look at this guy. He's armed and dangerous. It's pretty cool, huh? Then we also have this core fighter that it comes with. But what's really neat about this core fighter is that it transforms. And I've been so excited to show this to y'all. So what I like about these another thing I like about these model kits is that some of them have some really neat gimmicks to them. See, the cannons fold downward, and the wings fold up like so. I can fold them back. Beneath the cockpit is a peg, a singular peg right there. And we're just going to attach it to the back of the strike, like so. Oh yeah, check that out. Okay, now this guy's serious. Have a look at that. And that is our Strike Gundam. See the core fighter transformed into a backpack. And then these cannons that the core fighter had are cool. They can actually fold underneath the arms in case you need extra artillery. Because, you know, nothing like having more lasers. There we have it. This is the Build Strike Gundam full package from the series Gundam Build Fighters. So if you're curious about the show, you can find it on YouTube. The whole, like both seasons are free to watch on YouTube. If you enjoyed this build, there are many, many, many more like it. The world of Gundam is quite vast, and if you're looking for a nice series to dive into, I highly recommend it. And if this is your first time watching the video, if you've never tried a kit before, we hope that the video was helpful and informative. And if you would like to actually pick up this kit yourself, or my colleague Bree, she's also doing a different kind of kit, there are 2 different kits to choose from on the MomoCon website. You can check the MomoCon store, and they are actually selling this model kit along with a complete set of starter tools. You can get a pair of cutters, you can get a knife, and you will also get not the needle file, but you'll get a an emery board, which has 2 different coarsenesses to it. It has been a lot of fun putting this kit together. I hope that you have had a wonderful and safe MomoCon weekend. I hope that you are truly enjoying yourselves. It is so nice that we have this great opportunity to just come together and share the hobby with each other. And if you would like to go a little bit deeper, there are many stores that also carry these model kits. You can check with your local hobby store, your local comic book shop, and there are many great clubs and meetups that get together to put these kits together. It's great. You know, you can geek out with some fellow Gundam fans, you know, share ideas, you know, share stories. You can even create, customize. There are so many ways that you can build these models.
Hello everybody and welcome to Gunpla for Beginners. My name is Bree and I'm going to be taking you on this lovely journey that is Gundam model kit building. So I'm going to be going over some fun facts about the boxes and our tools. We're going to work on the Gunner Zaku Warrior Kit, and I will go into depth about what tools you need. Don't worry, it's super easy. So with the tools, as you can see, I've got set up right here. Don't worry about it. This is going to be really fun, and I really like going over Zaku kits, even though I personally only like Gundam Wing. I'm not well versed in the other series, but I have been doing kits since I was in middle school, which I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was. So let's start with how you pick the type of kit you're getting. There are different levels. Here's a high grade. This kit comes with a lot of pieces. It offers a lot of mobility while still being easy to put together. Here's the kit that I did last year with everybody during our beginners panel. You can see how flexible it is. And right here we have one of my master grade kits. This took me about 8 hours. It's another one of my favorites. And he's very flexible. There's lots of things. And I want you to keep in mind, I'm going to be showing you guys how to put these together without having to do all like paint or go out of your way to have special tools. I literally just take them apart and click everything into place. So here's some really neat little facts about the box. There are older boxes. If you get a hold of an older kit, you can tell what the price was in Japan before it got exported if you look above the barcode here. Now, this is a newer kit, so it's not going to have it. This is just a fun little Easter egg that you guys might find interesting, but on the older kits, you will be able to tell at the end of the barcode what the price originally was. It's just a fun, neat little fact. So here you can see, once I've opened up the kit, our runners are going to come in these wrapped packages, and we're going to open all of them up and take them out. Now, some people get file organizers, and they set the runners up in there. Every kit comes with these little joints. It's a different type of plastic. You want to make sure that you always know where this is at. These are very important. You're going to want to locate your sticker pad. Not everybody does the stickers. Some people reserve that to paint. So what I like to do is, you can see this is my work area. I'm going to take out all of my runners and set them around my desk. So right here you can see that each panel has a letter on it, and yes, it's in Japanese. It tells you also what scale your model is, but you don't need to worry about that. All you need to know is that you're looking for these letters. It's on every single runner, and this is how you're going to put the kits together. As you can see, all of our pieces are numbered, and that's all you have to worry about. You don't have to know how to read Japanese. You just need to know that the letters are here. Okay, so here we have our manual, and I'm going to go over how to read it and how to go over the runners. You don't have to know Japanese. Don't worry about that. It's actually pretty simple. We're going to go over how to read the letters and numbers together, as well as how to read where the stickers go. There are certain symbols that you're going to need to know, and I'm going to show you these. I really want you guys to see that you don't have to paint and go into a lot of detail. I personally don't do that. I find it very zen to just make these kits, and as you can see here, this is a master grade. I didn't paint it, there's nothing special or anything, but I still have flaws. There's still these nibs here on the end. You're gonna find lots of spots where I wasn't perfect, but it isn't about that. This whole thing is fun, and I want you guys to just have fun. It's a really neat hobby. I also like to do this because it shows that girls do this too. So Gundam is for everyone. That's the series or Gundam kits, it doesn't matter. It's all about having fun. So we're going to go over tools real quick before we get into anything heavy. Your most basic tool is going to be your clippers. These are wire clippers. Now most people get them, they're the pointed end. You can get some that are a little more blunt. I prefer this one because having that little edge can help. Now these are copper wire clippers. Now you need your straight edge. Please remember, this is super important. You can do everything with this, but your most basic tool, one and only, is your razor blade. You can do it with just the clippers, but if you can't get anything except for one thing, I would really suggest getting the straight edge. So you have your clippers and you have your straight edge. The next thing you need is a nail file. There are two easy to get nail files, and this helps you clean off your edges. It's going to be a 180 grit and a 120 grit. The 180 is for natural nails, the 120 being rougher is for acrylic. If you don't remember what the grit was, remember what nail type it goes to. Now, the next thing that you need, if you want to add a little detail without being too professional or overcomplicated, you just need a Sharpie. It has to be a fine point and a couple Q-tips. You're going to use the Sharpie has a liner. It's where your edges and everything in the kit is going to go, but we'll worry about that at the end. Now, your manual, this is going to be really fun. What I like to do is open up my manual and have the whole thing in front of me. As you can see, everything's in Japanese. You don't have to worry about being able to read that. And there's a nice little how it's supposed to be. Not all of them open up like this. Some of them open up like a book. So on this first page, you're going to find an image of your runners and the symbols I mentioned earlier. Now please remember that these kits are modeled after other kits, so you're going to have extra pieces. You're going to have some pieces that don't make any sense. Always double check with this first page. It's going to have everything you need, and this also helps you know if you're missing anything. There's going to be some symbols on here that you can see are grayed out. That means that they're not applicable to this specific kit, but these are your standard symbols. I'm going to include an attachment that explains what all of these symbols mean. And as you can see, it's pretty simple. One that says what the stickers are, one that says clip here. So I'm going to open this up to step 1 and set all of my stuff out. I prefer to put these together in each step, and I like to make sure that everything is right in front of me. So as you can see here, there's an exclamation mark. That means it has to be facing a certain way, so pay attention. And what it's doing is it's telling me that one of my joints has to be facing a certain way. And as you can see, PC, it's just like our other panels, that's just the name of this runner. So in middle school, I used to not use any tools at all. I'm not going to date how long ago that was, but I used to buy the non-grade kits from Walmart because Gundam Wing was on Toonami and that was huge. Now, I'm mainly going to be using my clippers and a straight edge. So I'm going to go over again that this exclamation mark means you've got to pay attention to what direction the piece is facing. I also had a piece that fell out and it doesn't look like it's broken or anything, so I'm going to set it aside after I know what spot it's in. We're going to make sure that all of our extra pieces are off to the side. I want to know where all of my runners and all of my little pieces are at. In the beginning part of our video, Severo went over how you're going to clip things out. You don't want to clip right next to the piece. You want to clip into the runner mold itself. This prevents the plastic from bracketing, which are little pucker marks, and it does kind of look bad. I've made the mistake or not been able to get far enough away, which is why I like the pointier clippers. So some of my kits have these really weird little marks on them, and that's because they weren't clipped correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by each piece. If you'll watch, I'm going to just show you guys my process as I go. I'll be moving it towards the camera and going back. I'll be pointing at things. Most of it is just my setup. I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to pull out my razor blade, and most of them are going to come with a cap on it. Here I am taking the cap off, and I want to remind you guys that for safety reasons, it actually is easier for me to keep the cap off, because I will, out of habit, put the cap on, take it off, and that's a good way to cut yourself if you don't put the cap on and go to take it off. So when you set it down, you need to remember to set it perpendicular. Do not set it parallel to yourself. And when you are getting off these little nibs here, you want to try to push it away from you. And keep your fingers down. This helps you not cut yourself. Unfortunately, I do that a lot. So I keep my finger down. It's out of the way of my blade. I have as much of a grip on the blade as I can get, and I'm pushing very lightly, but I'm using both of my thumbs, all of my fingers. I'm trying to keep as much control over this as possible. I have cut myself before, and I really don't want you guys to have to go through that. It feels like a really bad paper cut. You'll notice that most of the action that I'm doing with the razor blade kind of looks like shaving. I am shaving off these pieces. And once I get it all off, this is where your nail file comes in. And depending on how smooth you want it is what grit you use. It depends on what's there. It is going to scratch the plastic. There isn't a sandpaper that is perfect for this, and I personally don't like that scratched up look because I don't paint my pieces, but it does help if you do paint because it gives a space for the paint to stick to. And if I am going to use it, I tend to use the 180 grit because my plastic pieces are really soft. If you have a bigger piece that you need to get off, like you have a nib that's really big, you want to use the 120. Also note I said don't put your razor blade parallel to you, but I did on mine. So I have a cutting board under my piece, and that's kind of stopping it from rolling towards me. So I'm going to double check what my section says, because a lot of these have a certain order that you put everything together in, and it's very simple. It says 1, 2, 3, so you're going to want to look at it. Double check your exclamation marks first, make sure that things are facing the way they're supposed to be, and then you put item 1, then item 2, and it all just clicks together. There is no glue needed to put these kits together. You're going to notice that I set my piece down in the section that it goes in. If it's not carried over to the next one, I like to leave it where it sits. It helps me keep everything organized. Now on our next section, it says ×2. That means I'm going to be doing 2 pieces, but it's only showing 1 in the illustration. That's pretty cut and dry. Now you'll see that they have these little tick marks here at the bottom. That indicates what direction it's going. If you look up to the top, it says make sure it is facing this way. And the tick marks help you line everything up correctly. And in this specific piece, there is a thicker end and a smaller end, and it wants to make sure that that piece is going on the smaller end. Fake nails on right now, and that actually protects me while I'm doing this. I've already cut them twice, and as you saw, I got a bit of the plastic. So, a little bit of a girly thing, a little bit of a protection thing. top pieces put together. I'm going to do the weapons and stuff separately, but I'm going to put the torso, head, and arms together for you guys, and then I'm going to jump ahead and have everything done here shortly. Our finished piece. I have done all of the weapons. I did the backpack, I did the legs, we did the torso, and here's just how I do it. The only stickers I put on it here are on the weapon, and I have put him in the position that came in the booklet. I tried to do as base everything as I could. Here are the weapons. This was a one-piece little axe that I cut out. This was that gun that I pointed to in the beginning. And then here we have the shield and his back piece. That gun attaches here at the back if I remove one little panel. And there are always going to be extra little pieces. This little piece here would connect this gun to the backpack if I didn't want him to be holding it. Now if we look at the stickers again, I don't like how they look. A lot of people would paint these, but they only went here in the front part and in the back and here on this cartridge. The eye sticker part, I didn't actually center it, and I think it looks a little bit natural going back and forth as it did. Really quick, now that I have the piece done, let's go back to our Sharpie and our Q-tips. So I'm going to take a Sharpie real quick and do one little line. It's only going to take a little bit because this piece is so small and I can't quite get into the edging, but all you're going to do is mark it and then use the Q-tip to clean the excess off the outside, and whatever got into the cracks is going to stay. So as you can see, I tried to model it out of the final page on our manual. And I really like how they did this setup. It took me a bit of switching out the hands to get it right, but there we have it. Thank you guys. I hope that this was really fun and helpful, and that you have a little more confidence. As you can see, my kit looks great. I didn't paint it. All I did was follow along and cut the pieces out.
Thank you very much for joining us, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Stay safe and have fun. This is Severo, signing off.